What's up, everybody? We're back 2 weeks in a row, living up to my personal deadlines once a week. A little late this week, though, because I wasn't able to get on yesterday and get this recorded and get it out for you guys this Monday morning. It's actually Monday, 3:40 p.m. right now, and I'm looking to have this done for you guys by tomorrow. Something to keep you busy at work tomorrow on Tuesday. Yeah, so what's going on? Biggest thing I want to talk about is the Destiny 2 beta. Finally was able to play it. I was out most of the weekend. Was really hoping that it wouldn't be done, and that I would have a chance to play it before the weekend was up. I did. I even got on and made sure I downloaded it via remote play while I was at the airport. I was flying back home, and I saw a notice from Bungie that it would be done soon, so I was like, I better jump on and make sure it's downloaded before it gets taken off the store. I did, got it, played through the opening, I guess is what you would call it, right? The campaign story part 1. Really cool. I thought it was cool. Then I played through, I'll come back to that in a minute, but I played through the strike mission, the Inverted Spire, I believe it's called. Going back to the campaign opener story prologue, really cool. It's kind of, I'm trying to think, I would compare it more to how the storyline or the missions, I would say, the single player missions, the campaigns, even though they can be played with friends, were in Rise of Iron. There was a little more narrative to them. This one, of course, was even beyond anything in Rise of Iron. You had huge set pieces. There's this moment where you're, going through home base, the name of the area escapes me, on Earth, and you come across this blown out wall, and there's the ship of the Cabal cruising through the sky. It's pretty awesome, pretty great visuals. On that note, don't expect much of a jump in visuals. It looks like it's the same graphical engine, but with higher level of polish. This did kind of surprise me because I expected, not that they would switch engines, I did expect a bigger jump in visuals because they weren't going to be straddled by the PS3 and 360 generation. The original Destiny was also available for PS3 and 360 up to, I believe, Taken Kings as far as it went. I don't believe they received the Rise of Iron expansions. So, not really disappointed in that. I did expect a little bit more of a bump. I'm someone who can appreciate performance over graphical power, and I think you see that. It felt like when I was playing through it, there was far more enemies on screen, and there were some moments that were just pretty hectic in terms of the amount of enemies coming after you at once. It was a lot of fun. Models looked very new. I don't recall seeing a lot of these enemies. Even though you're still dealing with the Cabal and some of the others familiar faces that you dealt with in the first Destiny, a lot of the models were redone, at least in terms of the storyline playthrough. There's even some who I imagine he'll be a boss character, Gaul or something like that from the Cabal. Gaul from Cabal. Pretty cool scene with him at the very end. And yeah, it was cool. It was very cool. The strike is still 3 players. I have not played any of the multiplayer. The multiplayer, I understand, is 4v4 now. I don't know if that's all modes across the board. I think it's available to play until tomorrow. We'll see if I actually jump on and play it. But pretty satisfied with what I played on the strike that was available, as well as the story. Bottom line is this: if you like Destiny and you stuck with Destiny, or you got into Destiny at the tail end like I did, and you enjoyed it, there's really no reason why you shouldn't enjoy Destiny 2. And, that's to say that it's more or less the same. To talk about some smaller things, there looked like there was a couple more things to do with your loadouts. I picked Titan, or no, did I pick Titan? The big guy. Is that the Titan? I don't know. Shows you how much of a huge Destiny geek I am, and I'm not even sure. I didn't pick Hunter, and I didn't pick Warlock. I think the one I picked is Titan. That's the big guy. Relies more on defense, and I noticed that the grenades were not filling up nearly as soon. The cooldown on them was a lot longer than the first game. Played with the weapons a bit. Now shotguns are part of what would have been the heavy weapon set in the first game. That's a little different. I remember usually keeping the shotgun as my secondary. The hand cannon is still a secondary weapon, and it looked like the auto rifles, pulse rifles, that sort of thing was still in your primary slot. Pretty cool. There were a couple of armors and equipment that I unlocked, but I didn't mess around with those to see how different they were. It looked like everything was maxed out to level 200 light level and level 20. Didn't really get into that, but a lot of fun. Missions were a lot of fun. At the tail end of, about halfway through the campaign storyline, because I was wondering if it was going to be all single player, you come to a point where it's almost like a firefight mission from Halo, right? Halo Reach, Halo ODST, and you've got to stave off this assault from the Cabal. That was pretty cool. There's some NPCs involved in that, and I also ran into some live players. That was crazy. That was a pretty cool moment. Lots and lots of action going on. Very fun. The end of the strike ends with a very cool boss battle. And again, I'm blanking out on the names of the enemies, but it's the almost Borg-like autonomous robots and the Vex. Is that right? Yeah, I'm guessing here. The Vex, right? We'll just go with that. Pretty cool. It's this multi-platform boss battle, and he cuts the floor out from under you, literally. And as you fall deeper and deeper in, the waves of enemies he sends at you gets worse and worse. It's a lot of fun. Ooh, that was actually a pretty good challenge. I was down with one teammate. Somebody dropped out on us in the boss battle. Couldn't handle it, I guess. That was a lot of fun. That was a good battle. I think the beta is a good display of what's going to be in the game. If you haven't played it yet, I recommend it, especially for anyone that was on the fence with Destiny. If you haven't played Destiny and Destiny 2 is coming out, I would say it's the right time. Personally, this is what I think. It's the right time to buy Destiny. There's still so much content to get out of Destiny. It's still being supported for a 10-year span, and they think they're only into year 3, year 4. Yeah, if you haven't gotten into either one of them and you've been thinking about it and you're seeing Destiny 2 and it's catching your eye a little bit, honestly, I'd save the money and I'd buy Destiny. You can certainly get into it for a whole lot less and get a ton of content at this point. And I imagine, like with any other game, there's going to be a huge group of people that stick with the original for one reason or another. So I think that means there will be plenty of people to do versus with. I think there will be plenty of people to do co-op campaign with. Strike missions, yada yada, raids, especially raids. If you got loads and loads of people that are looking for their trophies and achievements for the raids, there will be those groups of people still on. So that's what I would say. And then for those of you that have been with Destiny for an extended period of time and you need more content, then absolutely, by all means, Destiny 2 is where you want to be. It was a lot of fun. I can't imagine anyone that's any more into Destiny than I am wouldn't be very excited about Destiny 2 after playing the beta. Solid gameplay, just like the first. I mean, that's what's most attractive to me about Destiny is just the gunplay is so much fun. I mean, it carries right over from where Bungie was at in terms of Halo gameplay and mixing it up with the RPG-esque style elements. And it works really well, and it's just very, very addicting to go and play strikes and raids and all the other missions available in Destiny, and now soon enough, Destiny 2. Yeah, so I liked it. Hopefully I'll jump on a little later and play some online. Maybe play through the campaign again just to go over it one more time. Let's talk about those finals for Street Fighter V EVO 2017 last Sunday. Last episode I talked about my experience playing Injustice 2 and how terrible I did. And also I was so gassed on anything Injustice related or video games in general last weekend just because of the tournament. It's funny how the window will get taken out of your out of you on something like that after you've just been like playing and playing and playing. So I didn't watch the Injustice finals as I think I said before, but I did get rested up enough and I tuned into the Street Fighter V finals. And holy cow, man, that Akuma is terrifying. I mean, that thing was the Tokido just monster trucked his opponent in the last final match of the tournament. It was awesome. It was awesome, and what's really awesome about it is that Akuma wasn't considered a high tier character. I mean, he's traditionally, I think they've always kind of stuck with this, is that he's always been a high damage, low health character. So it takes some finesse to go after it with him, and man, I bet everybody's playing Akuma now. He is terrifying in the way he was played at that tournament by Tokido. Crazy, crazy fun. I haven't played Street Fighter V in a long time, but I think anybody can, anyone who likes fighting games can still appreciate watching these high-level players play the games. That even if you're not playing them, you can enjoy them. So that was pretty cool. Other Evo 2017 related topic. Geese Howard, Tekken 7, man. Infernal Ninjas for Hire and I have a chat together, and Ninjas for Hire sent me this link, and it had a picture of Geese in Tekken 7, and I was like, this is bullshit, right? This is some fake thing. And I clicked the link, and sure as shit, it's Geese Howard in Tekken 7, and I was like, oh man, that's awesome. That's super awesome, because they've already got Akuma. Now they're going to have Geese. That's a very, very cool versus crossover element. Don't know how old you guys are to remember Capcom versus SNK, but that was one of the most awesome titles ever, just simply because of the crossover element. And that's cool that they've done that with Tekken. Now 3 companies merged into one game, essentially. So yeah, Tekken 7's on my radar. We'll see. I'm going to try to put it off a bit longer until the price comes down. I think kind of hovering at $39.99, which isn't bad. But I am kind of partial to that jumping kick statue of Kazuya and Heihachi Mishima. We'll see though. Gonna wait for a bit. I got some games to finish. Keep saying that. You'll hear me say that a lot. What else did I see last week? Out of nowhere, I think maybe Monday or Tuesday, there was a cool trailer for what looks like a indie or small development team game called Observer. And the reason why it got my interest is that it had Rutger Hauer of Blade Runner fame. He was also in Batman Begins. He got shafted by Morgan Freeman's character, Lucius Fox, at the end of Batman Begins. He's been in some other things. He was in The Hitchhiker. Anyway, for those of you guys that don't know Rutger Hauer, he's awesome. Check out some of his flicks. Blade Runner, most notable of them all. Yeah, so he's in this game. He looks like he's the main character. He's a detective, and these are the same people that put on this horror game, I think last year, that the name, of course, I can't recall. But anyway, it looks like a futuristic horror detective game. Looks cool. I think I'm maybe hoping for it to be better than it might be, just because of Rutger Hauer, but I might give it a shot once it comes out. We'll see. Keep an eye out for it. It's going to be on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Rutger Hauer as the star. The guy's awesome, man. Super cool actor. You might remember him from one of the No Man's Sky trailers. It has him narrating it. And the No Man's Sky team was clearly inspired by several different science fiction movies, one of which was Blade Runner. And they had him say one of the most memorable lines from Blade Runner. And it's actually a scene in which I think he improv'd, but he has this line where he says, I've seen things. And he starts discussing the horrible things that he and the other replicants endured and saw in space while they were enslaved. Pretty cool. Anyway, check it out. The Observer. Rutger Hauer. Hopefully the game's cool. Rutger Hauer already is cool. Oh, he was in Hobo with a Shotgun. So, super corny popcorn indie movie, but fun nonetheless. Hobo with a Shotgun. How could I forget that? Speaking of character announcements, let's talk about Injustice 2. Couldn't have a blogcast without Injustice 2.
It was an accident.
Starfire. Well, I think they released her, what, Thursday? She looks cool, man. She looks really cool. I'm curious how she's going to play. There was some really crazy looking moves of hers, and it looked like she may have the ability to fly associated with her trait or her ability. Looks like she's very projectile driven, and it looks like she's capable of some cool combos. We'll see. She's coming out in August. I don't recall seeing an exact date, but it's going to be very cool. And tomorrow they're going to have a Injustice 2 stream discussing the latest patch. Now, probably they're planning on releasing the patches right before all of the new character releases. I'm expecting this patch to be a major change in the cast overall. I think that now that Evo's done, they've been able to see a lot of the characters played out. Maybe they've been able to gather some information on how the characters are being played as opposed to how they intended. See a lot of things getting hit pretty hard, such as Aquaman's Trident Rush. It's simply too good. I mean, it just way too much chip damage. I think most would agree that that alone would make Aquaman much more balanced in that regard. Black Adam, he's going to definitely get the damage hit. I don't know what else off the top of my head. I can say for sure I think characters like Grodd, Swamp Thing especially, are going to get a lot of help from the update. We'll see, though. Again, you know, whoever has that job, it's a terrible job, man. You got to be careful how much you move that needle. You move it too much, and again, everyone's going to be playing a different character. We'll see. I'll be curious to see what they do. Got into Doom again. I was threatening to do that, and I checked. I was going to start the campaign, but it was late, and I didn't think I had it in me to really stick it out for too many levels, so I tried out arcade mode. And arcade mode's fun. You get loaded up to the gills in terms of your loadouts and ability stats, and it's all about the killing. Kill everybody, rack up the scores, cause carnage, and just burn through the levels. You get one life. If you die, you start over. A lot of fun. Plan on going through the Doom campaign soon, and then I'll probably dabble here and there in the arcade mode. Titanfall 2. Titanfall 2. Played it, and the first time I played it since, man, long time. There was a ton of new content. They've got new levels. They've got more levels pulled in from the first game, which I think is great. There were a lot of levels in the first game that didn't make it over when the game launched. And I think that's great because since the first Titanfall was a Xbox One and 360 exclusive, a lot of people who didn't jump on that missed out, and I think there's a lot of great levels in the first game that can still be relevant in the second game. So I think, what was it, Star City? Star City was one of the first ones. I can't think of the ones they've brought over, but I think they've brought over now 2 or 3 levels from the first game. Titanfall's a lot of fun. If you guys haven't gotten that, I highly recommend it. Should be fairly cheap. I don't think it did nearly as well out the gate as was hoped for. They released it at a terrible time between Battlefield and something else. Oh, Call of Duty, yeah. Talk about really destroying your game's hopes of survival in that sort of market. Marvel Vs Capcom Infinite. Kind of the last thing on my list. I've got a list. Start with a priority from the top. Destiny 2 Beta is the highest priority. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, the very bottom. I don't know what to think about this game, man. It looks okay. I mean, when they first showed it, it looked terrible. It looks good now. It feels like it's too similar, and I don't know exactly. It's not. I don't think it's going to play exactly like Marvel vs. Capcom 3. In fact, I played the demo just enough to see that the launch button is gone. It feels more like MVC 1 and 2 in that regard, and that everybody's got different pop-ups. Or that they don't, at the very least, they don't have a dedicated launch button. Similar to Guilty Gear. Don't know if Guilty Gear still plays like that, but old Guilty Gears had a launch button. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the cast should have been very, very different from the third one. They've got Chris Redfield, Chun-Li, Ryu, Nemesis, Spencer, I think, from Bionic Commando. Yeah, I just think that they should have gone way, way different on the cast, at least on the Capcom side. I know Jetta's making it back in, which is great, from Darkstalkers. I think they should have a lot more Darkstalkers characters make it in. Hopefully Dimitri, Anakaris, hell, even the boss. Who was the name of the boss? He was awesome. He's like some bull, like some illuminated ghost bull. That's a cool roster of characters to pull from. But yeah, I think I'm going to pass on it, man. It just doesn't seem... It's 2-on-2, so to me that feels less hectic, which I think is the appeal of Marvel vs. Capcom, the series. Even the first game, which wasn't nearly as crazy as 2 and 3, you had an assist. There was like a 1 out of 64 or 50 assists that you could choose at random. There may have even been a code to pick whichever one you wanted. Like you get Thor, you could get Sentinel, and they would come out in the same manner as assists in the second or third game, do one move, and then they'd leave. Even that was pretty crazy. You had 2-on-2 with assists, and now they've got 2-on-2, and I know they've got the gems going on, but I don't know. I'm also not a big fan of off-the-ground combos. Tekken I have an exception for. I mean, it's kind of how Tekken's always been. But it just feels like, at least, speaking from Marvel vs. Capcom 3, as soon as you hit the ground, you were done. You were done. Any character, it seemed like, could just kill you in one go. I'm sure more experienced players have more to say about that, and that you've got 3 characters to work with. But for me, man, I could just never ever get the hang of playing that game in a good way, just because I got scorched. Yeah, but yeah, that's about it, man. Destiny 2 beta, check it out, you guys. It's available now, I think, until today. Oh, today might be the end. Yeah, it is Monday. Keep thinking it was Sunday, but I'm a day off. That's what flying on a plane does to you. Stream news. This Friday, I'm planning Outlast on PS4. I'm going to start with the first game, courtesy of my awesome viewer, Eagle Scout. Hooked me up with Outlast. He also hooked me up with Resident Evil 7 earlier this year. Played the living hell out of Resident Evil 7. Still want to play it some more. That's how good it is. Outlast, though, that's on the radar, and I've got the time to do it this Friday. So be on the lookout for a banner for that. And we'll be on tonight, 9:30 p.m., Salty Throwdown. And of course, this week, Community Throwdown. And someone requested that I do Mortal Kombat X this week instead of Injustice 2. But I'm going to do better than that. We're going to do both. So probably tomorrow, Mortal Kombat X. Wednesday, Injustice 2. This Thursday, we'll not be able to do Community Throwdown, but I'm going to do it Tuesday and Wednesday instead. I'll keep you guys updated on that on my Twitch page as well as on my Twitter page. Alright guys, that's it for me. Leave me a comment in the chat. Be sure to follow the channel. Ask me some questions. I'll get to them in my next episode, next Monday. Thanks for hanging out. This is VX27. Peace.